week and a half now I can't find my razor, and I haven't managed to pick up a new one. And I got my sweet Poncho going on. You can't go wrong with these things. They don't heat their houses here, and it's kind of getting wintry, so it's cold in the house all the time. So I'm rocking the Poncho and the hut booties, and I thought I would do a talk today. So, what am I going to talk about? Well, today I'm starving. I don't mean literally. In fact, food is a huge part of Chilean culture. Every meal is eaten together as a family whenever they can. Most meals, there's at least myself, Grandma, my host sister Jessica, and some of her sisters and nephews. It's mostly local stuff that they eat here, lots of white bread, some meat and chicken and stuff like that, and something called dulce de leche, or manjar, which is like caramelized condensed milk that you spread on bread or top on dessert or whatever. It's really good. The girls here love it. In fact, food is so central here. Instead of saying when it's cold outside like today, it's not está frío. We don't say that it's cold. We say está helado, which really, literally means that it's ice cream outside, which is pretty good. So, how am I starving amongst all of this food? I'm going to start this talk with a little bit of a confession. It's been a few weeks since I've gone to a Sunday Mass. I've only gone a few times since I've been here, and I know that's a bad thing to start a talk on God with, but it's the truth and kind of the foundation of what I have to say today. So I'm not going to make excuses for why I've missed Mass. I will say that it's difficult sometimes when you travel, and I'm on the road more or less every weekend. With language barriers, it can be difficult to find churches. My Lonely Planet guidebook, which is wrong most of the time anyway, only lists ones that are for tourists, not ones that actually have Mass. And with language barriers, it can be hard to ask people when and where to go. And you'd think in a Catholic country like Chile it'd be easier, but Chile suffers from something that a lot of countries that are traditionally Catholic suffer from, and that's that about 80% of the people here don't go to church. So when you ask them, they know that there is a church, and they might know where it is, but they have no idea what time Mass is at. So basically, I've been relying on getting lucky or blessed. So I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, I was wandering around the streets of the city of Valparaiso looking for Pablo Neruda's house. If you don't know, Pablo Neruda is a Nobel-winning poet from Chile. But I found something much better. I found God's house. We walked by just like a local church, a small one, kind of looked like a barn, that was in the middle of the Palm Sunday Mass. It was Palm Sunday weekend. And my patient travel companion, Megan, was happy enough to just chill in the local park and wait while I went to Mass. And so off I went. And I just want to jump off topic here for a second and say how happy I am to be Catholic, that I can walk into the middle of Mass in a foreign language that at that point in time I hardly spoke any of. Not that I speak a lot more now, but didn't understand a word of it. But I could still know within about 30 seconds what was going on. Anyway, so back on topic. Of course, I stayed for the Eucharist, and something struck me. Actually, something almost floored me. Right around the sign of peace, which in Chile is hugs and kisses on the cheek. That's like their standard greeting here. It's very affectionate. I realized how hungry I was. Not for food, but for community. I wasn't so much homesick. I don't mean specifically my St. Bonaventure community, but I think it was more like heaven sickness, if that isn't the same thing. Because when we gather for the Eucharist, we're in communion with the whole world, with Catholics everywhere, and even the world beyond ours. We're in communion with the saints in heaven. And so with the warm and welcoming kisses and handshakes of the Chileans around me, I felt communion with them, and through them with my parish family at home. And I don't think it's any coincidence that Karen happened to have gone to St. Bonaventure that same day and was welcomed by the community there too. Of course, the peak of the celebration was receiving the Eucharist. Now, I'm going to be honest here, some Sundays I feel out of touch. It seems like I'm just going through another ritual. But this particular Palm Sunday, I felt deeply in touch with God. I know exactly why, for two specific reasons. First of all, even though I came late, stood at the back, and was a complete foreigner, I felt like I was at home. The people welcomed me so much. I felt like part of the community. And the other reason was that I realized how hungry I was for the body of Christ. I compare it to like a backpacking trip or a long hike where, you didn't notice how hungry you got. It's past already, and you don't realize how badly you need food until all of a sudden there's just that little bit there in front of you, and your stomach wakes up, and suddenly you're starving, and you know that you need to eat. Um, I'll give you an example now. A few weeks ago, I got the bright idea that it'd be really fun for me and some of my Canadian friends to go on a horseback trip up into the Andes near Pucón for an overnight kind of camping thing. There's a video on the website about it. And I'll save the whole story for another talk, but suffice to say, we were soaked from just torrential downpour, couldn't get a fire started to cook our dinner, and we're starving. But we didn't really realize it because we were so focused on lighting the fire and on staying warm that we didn't really, think about food too much. Until now, eventually we got some shelter and a fire, and we started cooking the asado, the barbecue meat, and we had some appetizers. And when that first appetizer hit our lips, all of a sudden everyone was famished. I mean, we just devoured dinner that night. And it was just that little bit of food that sparked that hunger, that woke it up. And just like for me, on Palm Sunday, when I received that little bit of spiritual food in the form of the Eucharist and also from the Chilean community. Now, I wouldn't ever suggest that someone give up an opportunity to receive the body and blood of Christ in the Eucharist whenever they can. But maybe there is time for us to have some sort of spiritual fast. I know it's also Easter season, so fasting isn't what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to celebrate right now. And so I don't mean fast in the sense of giving something up. I mean it more in the sense of preparing. Spending some time during the week reflecting on the community that you're part of, your parish community and the bigger church community, and God's presence within that community. God told us, wherever 2 or 3 gather in my name, I am there among them. And the Catholic Church teaches that God is truly present in the community gathered in his name. And the second thing is to spend your prayer time thinking about spiritual food. Maybe go to adoration and contemplate what it means to be fed. Go through these connections in your heart with your community and with the Eucharist and offer them to God in prayer. And then the next time you go to Mass, hopefully this Sunday, savor the delight of a loving community and, really enjoy that small taste of heaven that you're getting.